All right, I will call the July 10th, 2024 meeting of the Fire Station Building Committee to order. We're meeting in room 120 of Town Hall. It's also available via Zoom. First agenda item is public comment.
Hold it.
No one's on
No.
Zoom. All right. First discussion item is OPM report. Steve, take it away.
What happened to me?
I don't know. Sorry.
Hey, the screen the whole time and now,
You know, I see
I
it.
think
there we go.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you. OPM report for July 10th. I'll go through progress since our last meeting, which was on the 12th of June. Installation of mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and fire protection finishes are ongoing throughout the building, along with the automatic temperature controls. Plumbing fixtures are being installed. Permanent power has been installed. The card reader system is going in. Painting of both the interior and exterior is ongoing. Ceiling tiles are ongoing. The epoxy flooring in the app bay is ongoing. They've got the two side bays complete. They're just finished up the the middle two bays with the red and gray, and they will do the yellow striping at the end once everything is out of the way. Carpet tile and VCT flooring is being installed on the second floor. Millwork and casework is ongoing throughout the building, inclusive of the dorm lockers, the kitchen, various office spaces. Roofing, sheet metal gutter, and downspouts are complete. The lightning protection, there is some rework required, which will be starting up in the next week or two. The generator has been load tested. The above ceiling punch list is ongoing. They're going for an inspection on the 18th for the above ceiling on the second floor. Station alerting system installation is ongoing. The audiovisual rough installation is ongoing. There was several revisions and some electrical contractor rework that was needed, but they will be back. And the furniture, and we'll get into this a little bit more detail later, but the furniture that was originally planned to start installation on July 8th has been now relocated from the New Hampshire warehouse of Hertz Furniture to the Canton warehouse for Armstrong, who was their installer, for extended storage, and we'll revisit that shortly. So photo documentation. I mean, a number of you went to the tour we just had of the facility, but first photo is a view as of the front of the building as of yesterday. I came through and took a few progress photos. Next photo is the lineup of condensing units in the back of the building for all the air conditioning systems. Next photo is a view of the training facility facing east. This is where the screen will be, and you've got infill ceiling panels around the sheetrocked trusses. Next photo is a view of the app bay facing west, showing that the ceiling is now painted. The fire protection piping has been painted red along with the structural columns. It is still being used as storage, and you can see that they've protected the areas of epoxy flooring so they could place equipment and materials on top. And we've got a closer view of the epoxy flooring in the middle two bays in the app bay, showing the color scheme. Again, the yellow striping will be done at a later time once the app bay is and the building is close to being finished. The next photo is a view of the carpet tile in the deputy chief's office. And next photo is a view of the carpet tile in the war room or the emergency management shift commander room. This photo is a view of some of the casework that's in the copy room. Both the wall cabinets, base cabinet, and counter has been installed. Next photo is view of casework in the reports writing room, which gives the ability to write their reports, and there's shelving on the wall for binders and manuals. Next view is just a shot down the dorm room corridor. You can see the grid is in, walls painted, floor is prepped for final flooring, and doors are in. This is a typical view of a toilet room with the vanity, extended countertop, toilet, and then there's a shower that's out of view. They've got all the tile protected with poly. Next photo is a view of the lockers that are at each of the entries to the dorm rooms. There's four, which will there's four shifts. Each person on each shift will have a locker, and there will be doors that will be going on those lockers. They're in the process of being installed now. Next view is the fire pole, the gate and the pole up on the second floor. That ends up down in the apparatus bay on the west side of the building. Next photo is a view of the day room facing north. I've been showing photos of the day room as it progresses, and now you can see where it's got carpet. The walls are painted, and the grid is mostly in, waiting for the above ceiling inspection to finish the tiles. Next photo is a view of the dining room and the kitchen. The progress on again ceiling, light fixtures are installed. Cabinetry and casework is ongoing. There's a close-up view of the island. You can see some of the plumbing fixtures have started to be installed, the sink and the faucets. And then this is a view again of some of the wall cabinets and casework in the kitchen with the subway tile backsplash. Any questions on progress today? Okay, schedule look ahead. We want to finish complete the overhead door motors. Some of them are operational. We've got to make sure that everything is complete on those. Complete the interior and exterior painting. Complete the flooring throughout, including the epoxy in the app bay. Install the storefront aluminum doors and glazing, which right now they're looking at the third week of July. Complete the ceiling tiles after the above ceiling inspection passes. Complete millwork and casework. Install building specialties like fire extinguisher cabinets in the AEP. Provide power to all the mechanical and various equipment by the electrical contractor. Complete the MEP FP finishes on the first and second floor. Rework the lightning protection. Start up all the HVAC equipment. Do the testing and balancing, which right now is scheduled for August. And then follow up with the commissioning. Commissioning agent was on site today doing a walkthrough. We had a meeting with them at 11:30. They're completely up to speed with the progress and are actually asking the HVAC subcontractor for a date so that they can get themselves scheduled for witnessing. Elevator needs to be energized and get the state inspection. As I've said, the above ceiling inspection needs to happen. Activate the data fiber, telephone, and cable services, which is on the owner side. Complete the Zetron and the audiovisual installation, which is a direct contract with the owner, and then have the AHJ and the AE inspections. So other construction issues right now through May, and they'll be submitting their June requisition this week. The Castani is 81.78% complete with the project. We did, as I mentioned, we had a fire station tour for some of the committee members and the FD. Have this time now if you want. Have any comments, questions, or anything that we can address?
I don't have any comments. Anybody have any comments from the walkthrough? No. think the building looks great.
It's good. I will pass that on to take this down here, boys.
Be nice when it's finished, but
Yes.
get to that.
It's getting there. The next item is, Dawn already had sent out, a couple options on the dedication plaque, and then there was some minor corrections on some spelling. I do have,
Yeah, this didn't go to all committee members. I think it only went to the chief and I,
okay,
but it's essentially the two options they're really not all that different. Just option two, they just reorganized
try to
the
balance.
list to try to balance it out. For what it's worth, the chief and I thought option two looked better.
I don't think we need a vote. It's just a consensus of the committee, so that,
I mean, we already voted on all the names of
Yeah.
the plaque, so.
Yeah.
Anybody have a strong opinion otherwise? From option two?
yeah, I think the one on the left was the original layout that everybody saw, but they thought it looked better, and I think it does also.
Yep.
Just the minor corrections. It's Cassani Construction Corp., not company, so that's just a name change. Jack is gonna lose the Jack, it's just gonna be John Kelly. And we're Deputy Chief, Petrocek we're gonna shorten that to RET instead of fully retired. And Mike, you all set with Michael? Yeah. So those are very minor changes.
Mikey.
No,
we were gonna put Captain Underpants. A lot of other options.
Forget this is gonna be hanging in the building for the next 50 years, so. Okay,
So
so
option two.
Ron, you're all set? No, you have no other comments on the dedication plaque?
No, I just, you sent me those comments you talked about, because number 2 is on the right, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, so number 2 is on the right, and if you just give me that information, I don't know if that went to Tim yet or not.
Yes, Tim has it.
It did, yes.
I think
Alright,
Tim
so-
made things for you, yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I know he
Tim's-
did, but you asked for some. Oh, I guess he already, we're gonna lose the jack, right?
Yes,
So I'm just asking if Tim has that information.
Yes.
yes, he does.
Okay, and then the CC is staying?
PC is,
Same time.
yes.
All right, yeah, very good. Okay,
Special thanks should Debbie first. He had more to do with it. Right,
I think
just keeping it balanced.
Yeah, I think it's a balance. It's there. It's nice to have that, that added. A lot of times it doesn't come up with the pounds as far as pinpointing specific people, so.
Thank you very much.
And just going back one, I just to throw it out there so that, you know, and I forgot to mention it, during the walkthrough, but we're taking some of the brick from the original station. And actually Jamie's been salvaging it himself. And covering a corner column in the training room with brick as a sort of a tribute for the old station. So and then grabbed some of the old plaques and trying to salvage some of the stuff that was there and put it up in the building, besides having murals and so forth later on. So that was just FYI. A couple big holes in the.
There's holes.
Not all the way through, just the linear.
Fewer surprises during demo.
Yeah. It's interesting to see what they do.
Clear view to see which.
Yes. So, you know, I think the big discussion, and I made it a special bullet point, was the schedule. Back on the 26th, when we were sitting in on the commissioning meeting, the HVAC subcontractor stated that his first equipment startup wasn't going to be until July 18th, which is now, as of today, is pushed to August 1st. And the testing and balancing wouldn't start till August late deliveries and lack of power connection by the electrical contractor was indicated as a cause. And as we've discussed in the past, the Bright Light, the electrical contractor, has fallen behind. And Castagna was actually paying them the premium time to add overtime. They are now, or Castagna says, you know, no more. They've got to pick up the pace themselves. This week they're only back to an 8-hour shift, and I think, and it's not excuse because we don't care about their other jobs, but they've got too much work going this. But then we've asked, Castagna has asked for additional manpower for a while, and they were working. Saturdays, then they went to 410s to get an additional 8 hours. But essentially, most of the delay on the delivery is electrical. The other issue that has come up, and we've sort of also been tracking it for a while, is the storefront aluminum doors. We got to make that change to the cornier. We initiated that change because the manufacturer that was specified and submitted ended up not being able to be in compliance with the requirements for the building. So it ended up, we're going to Connier. They have dragged out, I guess, the delivery of the storefront doors to Aluminum Glass and Concepts. We thought, again, that the 28th, they were going to be delivered on site. Ended up, they were delivered to the shop on the 28th, and they're being fabricated off site. So right now, storefront doors, which is essentially all the exterior doors, and then the entry to the administration, looks to be July 18th. So that was unexpected at that point. It caused us to have to enact a few things because at that point we were having the furniture being delivered and installed on the 8th. Luckily, we had the follow wanted to come out and take a look at the site. Our on-site people had a conversation with them and ended up that he was able to store the fire department furniture in his warehouse in Canton, whereas Hertz Furniture is in New Hampshire, had to get it out because they were getting overrun with furniture. The cost of that was $6,275. Castagna's picking up that whole amount. So right now our furniture is a lot closer than it was before, but it's not in the building yet. So discussions previously, discussions today, substantial completion was tentatively, as we last met, July 5th. It is now likely to be sometime in September, and the FD move-in was also going to be sometime in September. Again, we had the discussion at the meeting. John was there, so he's aware because he's been away for a couple of weeks. He's aware, and he's been able to. He's working on adjusting some of his schedules. The final project completion contractually is the end of October. Right now, I'm saying it's to be determined because I don't know whether Castagna is going to be able to make up the time in phase 2, which may be tough because it involves abatement of the building after the move out and move in. Abatement of the building, making it safe by disconnecting utilities, demolishing it, and then doing all the site work. And that would end up being a month and a half, maybe a month and 3 weeks. That's pretty tight time frame to do all that work. But they're working on what we've asked them for is a recovery schedule. They're working on that now. One good thing is that the fire department is in the station. They don't have to get out. It's just delayed.
Not for
that overall.
meeting.
As was issued, we did send a letter to Castagna, giving them notice of the missed substantial completion. We asked for a recovery schedule and whatever methods they're going to implement to do that. And we certainly reserved all the town's rights under the contract. I wanted to send it out to them as soon as possible. And then I also said that if there are any other requirements or conditions that come out of our meeting tonight, we would do a follow-up to that letter from the committee. So I don't know if you all had a chance to review that, but that letter did get sent. And Castagna was really part of the conversation, because we asked them back on the 26th, what can we do to help? So that the letter is somewhat a notice and a tool for them to send to Brentwood saying, you really need to get going on this. So it wasn't like we sent them something blind. We're trying and assist them to get their subs to get in line and pick up as much time as they possibly can.
So I have a couple questions. I don't know if anybody else wants to ask questions first or. So we'll start kind of at the end date here. So the end date is TBD. It's not going to be October 30th by the sounds of it. Is there, I mean, a big portion of phase 2 is site work. Are there stipulations in the contract? I mean, you can't be planting grass in December, putting plantings in. So are there stipulations in the contract that once they slip past a certain date, that all the site work's going to have to be pushed to the spring anyway?
Well, there are definitely planting limits, seasonal limits when you can plant and when it's recommended not to. I've seen a lot of times where the contractor will still plant, and they basically say, whatever doesn't take, we'll just redo in the spring.
Mhm.
So I leave that sort of as a means and methods to them, but I wouldn't give them a stop work order for that.
Sure.
I would leave that up to them and their landscaping contractor. Because we'd certainly want to get as much done as possible. Will they have to come back for something? Most likely. They may have had to anyways. Even if they planted in October, something didn't take, they have to come back.
Right.
Something died, they'd have to come back.
Yeah,
So
I think the plantings are all warranted, right?
yes, yeah. They have, any kind of grass or lawn, they have to establish a full stand of grass. There's some mowing requirements. So there's a lot of these jobs, even though the job's finished and it's occupied, landscaping type items, they're coming back during occupancy. So I'm not, it's not unusual.
So, it's good. I mean, obviously, it's not like we're a school or something where the kids are coming back to school. So we have some leeway where you guys can just stay in the building you're in now. But what is our exposure cost wise? I'm assuming there's costs for Vertex and Dorn Whittier. What other, are there any other?
Those are the main ones right now. I don't know.
The furniture is being picked up by Castagna.
Yep, and if it's beyond 30 days, we'll just add time to that date. They have not balked at anything at this point.
So just to
Does
touch a little bit on the plantings, a lot of the plantings are on the south side, the east and the west, which they can actually plant. Like, I think, being a month or two behind, they'll be able to plant the plantings, if you will, and the seed and the grass, because I think it's October 15th is that date. I think Steve is right. I think, we kind of leave it up to them to tell us, all right, we've missed our window. We're going to come in the spring, but in which case they have to stabilize it. But the reason Steve, was running the meeting today and we were discussing all of this, I'm trying to get these dates in my mind because at some point it may be to their advantage to put sod everywhere. So the area out in front of the building that has the drainage structures and things like that in it, that's the area that has the different types of plants, but everything to the right and the left is essentially grass. And the question I would have, if they wanted to go this route, because that's established, right? Sod is established. So they could come out there, put the sod down, water the bejesus out of it. It's a technical term. for 2 weeks in the fall and have that like really well established going into the spring. So there are still some options that we need to talk about with Castagna when it comes to the late planting seasons. But you know, that's just something that, as Steve mentioned, it's kind of like, you know, means and methods. Yep, they're going to miss a date, but how do they get back on track once that building comes down? So
Thanks, Rob. So if our biggest exposure, the only known exposure right now is Doran Whittier and Vertex for additional site presence and meetings.
Correct.
Admin. The liquidated damages that we have in the contract, will that cover those amounts?
Sure, yeah, it's, if I remember correctly, it's $2,000 a calendar day. It becomes $14,000 a week.
Yeah, because I think, you told me that when we spoke last week, but like if just looking at Vertex's invoices each month, if you're just taking it divided by 30 days. Now, I know other things that there's testing agencies
Right.
and things in there. It's fairly close to that $2,000 per day, so it doesn't leave a lot for Doran Whittier. Now, they're only, I don't mean to minimize Ron's presence if this thing goes long, but are they just attending a meeting a week, or is there more? I'm just trying to get a handle on that. The $2,000 we're not going to cover Doran Whittier Vertex's costs.
I
And
see
if-
what you're saying. Like, is the architect actually adding any value? I get it.
Oh, but in all seriousness, no, like, if the $2,000 is in the contract, is that the only amount that we're entitled to? Or if
No,
it's back and says Vertex really has a burn rate of this and Doran Whittier needs this, we can recover more.
well,
I think we have to look at the language, because we included liquidated damages as in the contract in order not to go through the procedure of figuring out actual costs. And that's sort of what liquidated damages. I would have to check to see if there's a clause that releases that
Yeah.
to go actual.
So I think what we're gonna need is some amount. Or if we think that $2,000 is gonna cover Doran Whittier and Vertex.
And I think that I agree with you. I think that, we talked about, my biggest concern was, if there's a delay and we have extended, services needed by Doran Whittier and Vertex, that I explained this to Steve. I said, the town cannot be on the hook for that. Like we're
Right.
not gonna be on the hook for that. Like, cause unless we created delays somehow and.
Yeah, which it doesn't sound like that's.
Right now,
that's a
no,
reason
we
at all.
talked about it, we're basically clean on this end as far as, we got our utilities in and so forth. That's usually a sticking point when you take it on.
So when are they supposed to give you an actual? Yeah, I mean, September is 30 days long. So what is their time frame to get an actual date of when the building will be complete and when phase 2 will be complete?
I just want to go back for a second. It's $2,000 a day in this 30 days. That's 60.
Was it $2,000? Was $2,000 a day? Is it 2,000 a working day?
I can't remember.
2,000 a calendar.
Calendar day.
So we
Okay.
need days
That-
of
So-
$2,000.
That helps.
You just gave me a raise. Thank you. That's what I'm
so
saying.
I also, I
So-
also want to add that, look, it's been a great job, and we wouldn't take advantage of this otherwise anyway, but I would like to, like, when we get to that point in September, when they're at substantial completion, all the submittals are done, or, they should be. Now we're into demolition and site work and so forth. Not to minimize our value here, but you're right. We're attending meetings, we're doing some inspections, we're doing some review of the site. I don't see this, like, I would almost say, let's figure out a way to work within this budget between Doran Whittier and Vertex. Because I'm not, I think to get this far into the job has been so well run. I think even the community must be saying, hey, this has been a pretty well run job, right? And it looks just like the pictures that we voted on. I think at this point, Steve, we'll have that conversation with Castagna about how do we just make everybody whole? Because quite frankly, like I said, I would like to know what needs to be done to close the project out. We have our landscape architect who, quite frankly, they haven't been out to do their inspections, or they won't have been out. Do you know what I mean? So even though it's a few months later, the work hasn't expanded. Same with the civil engineer. So, there are some things that we can do to manage these costs, to answer your question, Kevin.
I think to the chief's point that, and you're right, Ron, I mean, I haven't heard from multiple people about they're happy with how the project's been run and it's going smoothly. We just don't want a hiccup now, and especially because there hasn't been anything that the town has done to cause this, that now there's some cost impact to the town for it. So I think if the liquidated damages are covering our exposure, then I think we're okay.
Yeah.
But
And I think the liquidated damages is also the motivation for them to work to get things done. And I think it's not Castagna that really is the issue, but the thing is that when there are higher ups, get with the higher ups from Brightlight, they'll be able to express to them, this is going to trickle downhill and it's going to be on you, because the delay is you now. It's not anything else, it's you. So, I think we're insulated from having to do too much of that battling. I'm hoping we don't ever have to get legal counsel involved, though, that Brightlight is, kind of with this letter and getting the information and having to sit down with Castagna gets a little bit of fire lit under them and realizes like, oh crap, like, we're gonna get moving and do this, but still do it the right way and still keep their foreman on site, who is amazing and does impeccable work. It's just some of their decisions on the higher ups, I think, have affected how quickly things are getting done, because they're having him do things that none of us believe he should be doing. Like doing coordination drawings instead of using the processes that the job has for everybody to submit stuff to save a penny. They wanted to have him do stuff. But I think, that was my big fear. And honestly, I sat and talked with Steve after and Doug for a little while, just saying, hey, look, this is something that this isn't gonna go well or be received well if the town is on the hook for anything. We cannot be on the hook for anything. Like, we gotta have, because that's a big deal. It was a big deal throughout getting us across the finish line. And a lot of the fears that some of the community had, well, it's gonna go long. Like, we can't have any of that. We got to make sure this, goes as smoothly as it has gone. It needs to finish that way.
How much work does Brightlight have left? Like, how many calendar days do they have remaining to get whatever it is they need to get done?
Well, I mean, basically they have no calendar days left because it should be done, but what do they have? It's hard. I mean, they could use 6, 8, 10 guys. And I believe they have 4 on site now. They had been up to 6. They really should be working 10-hour days and Saturdays for a period of time to try and get them and prioritize the things that need to be connected, because if you get the HVAC subcontractor that wants to start up his unit, then get on that. And that's, these discussions have been held, and, Castagna knows what they need first. Don't necessarily need an outside light fixture right now. Let's get the interior stuff done. So, and I do know that there's a couple things that they're waiting for deliveries, but as far as base contract, because there have been some change orders for them, but we're really focusing on the base contract stuff, and base contract is HVAC equipment hasn't changed. that needs to be wired up.
And are they receptive to that kind of feedback, or are they just like, nah, we'll do it when we get to it?
Well, we're not having the conversations directly with Bright Light because we don't have that contractual connection with them. We're having the conversations with Castagna. But the feedback we're getting was a little bit of what you said. So they are having a meeting with the owners on site this coming Friday.
Okay.
They've already had, I guess, some calls.
Mhm.
And Castagna's been pretty forthright with what they've been doing and trying to motivate them to
Mhm.
you know, put more men on it and speed it up. I mean, again, she said, the guys that are on site, they're fine. It's the office.
It's the people that are, it's not the.
Their foreman is great, and I think it's a benefit that we've had this guy. He's the one that I think I've showed you a few times,
Yeah.
just some of his conduit work. I mean,
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. All the work looks amazing.
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
No question.
So it's not that we have a lousy crew, which sometimes can happen. That's not the case.
Yeah, I think that's the frustration because Castagna's doing an amazing job. Most of the subs have done amazing, and even Bright Light as a sub, the people on site, they do impeccable work. Like it is very attention to detail. They take a lot of pride and ownership, and like things are even hidden behind walls are perfectly straight, perfectly angled, and I'm like, it is amazing, honestly. And so we've kind of been treading that, like in discussions, like, you know, the last thing we want to do is have the on-site crew get, you know, impatient or feel pressure and like, oh God, we got to scramble and go from doing impeccable to crap, you know. So we want to put a little bit of pressure on them, but at the same time, not, you know,
No cutting corners, no making mistakes because you're in a hurry, which will just come back to, you know, they're going to flip something on and it you know, it won't turn on. So, but again, I think it's pretty well known that the HVAC equipment has to take the priority because the HVAC sub then has to do a whole bunch of stuff once they do startup. And it's not a couple days, you know, it's
most before.
well, yeah, testing and balancing in that building is probably a couple weeks. And we're gonna need that testing and balancing report for the building inspection. So it's getting a bunch of things done in order to start doing the inspections to get to the point of saying, yeah, you can occupy. We can move furniture in. Then that's fine. Furniture can sit there. It's people can't occupy.
So has there been any discussion of when Castagna is supposed to have these dates and when they're going to be substantially complete with the building and then for phase two?
Yeah, we talked about it at the meeting. I have it in the letter that we're looking for recovery schedule. Jeff Rollins, who's the PM, said that they're working on that now. But part of what he needs to input is getting the dates from Bright Light and Cam HVAC, who's given some, you know, these are our dates if we get these things energized. So I think the Friday meeting is going to generate answers. And we've asked them really for, we asked for a recovery schedule, but we also asked for sort of a mini schedule, just incorporating the HVAC and the electrical. Because the commissioning agent, he's interested in it, because like I said, he needs to plug himself in to come out here and witness startups. So
And then once the doors arrive, is that like just a couple of days for them to install that? Does that go pretty quickly, barring any manufacturing issues?
it should, because they're building them off site, so it should come almost like as a kit. When I say it's a couple, I give them a week. Because, you know, you're gonna put the frames in, you're gonna hang the doors in this hardware. So, and there's quite a few.
But we don't, once we have the doors, we don't expect any further delays with them.
I don't expect any further delays. My understanding is that they have the glazing. So sometimes that can be a problem. You put, you know, the doors come in, there's no glazing on, you gotta get the glazing on. They're no good. We're not gonna put the plywood panels in and try and open the building. So, I would say that hopefully, I can't guarantee it, but hopefully by the end of July, all the storefronts, all the exterior doors should be in. if they get that, that delivery to the site in that July 18th timeframe.
At least we'll be more comfortable moving stuff in September than in July.
Well, the air conditioning.
Yeah, the air conditioning. will be working.
Yes.
Like the little ones there. I told you that pole was hot, wasn't it?
I mean, I think all things considered, especially with the unknown when we started this project of manufacturing items and lead time items, I don't think this is like a terrible problem that you're facing.
Well, and it sounds like as long as as long as we have a way to recover the costs, I think it's, again, it's not like we're at school or something where we now all of a sudden have to find swing space.
Right.
It's just, it sucks that you gotta live in a trailer for longer. For how many years?
A couple of weeks won't have.
I don't think we'll hear one person complain.
Any other, yeah, any other questions then? Did you have anything more on the schedule? Any other questions on the schedule then?
Do we need? Trying to think how the right way to word this is. Do we need to increase our meeting frequency over this issue? Like, is there gonna be action we need to take after these meetings?
As a committee,
Yes.
I'm not anticipating it now, but if we need some kind of decision, or Ron and I feel that committee needs to be informed of something, I'll certainly put it out there. Contact you, we can decide whether we need to have a meeting or whether you can just disseminate the information.
Yeah, I think it's important, especially now, if liquidated damages start getting assessed, that the town in no way is delaying anything.
Mhm.
So, to your point.
I'm wondering, like, do we schedule 2 meetings in August and September? And then cancel them if we don't need them, or just show up public comment and close them? Or,
Let's see how the Friday meeting goes, and then we can try and figure that out if we need to.
That sounds like a good plan. Maybe after the Friday meeting, once you all get the kind of results of that, like maybe reach out to.
Yeah.
And let him know, like, we probably.
If we do, if there is anything that we need to take action on.
that way we're not, I forget what it is, but we're not delaying the public notice of the meeting.
Right. That's all I have.
Any other discussion items from anyone? Action items, the only action item we have on the agenda is approval of meeting minutes. Chris, I reviewed the May 8th meeting minutes, didn't have any comments, so I'd like to ask for motion to approve. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Right, motion passes. Thank you, Chris. Any other items from anyone? Ask for a motion to adjourn. Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thanks, everyone.